formerly known as Twitter, at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can also watch us live on Niconsat 42 degree East. On the program, we discuss actions, inactions of government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as business and health affairs that shape our worldview. The program also encapsulates personalities and institutions that make the decisions that affect the lives of the people, one way or the other. And then we also avail you, our listener, the opportunity of calling into the program and ask questions from our guest on the topic of discussion. Once again, welcome to On Record, where every word matters. Sadly, Nigeria is facing a growing issue of flooding due to a combination of natural causes and infrastructural deficiencies. Now, floods in Adamawa and Borno states have caused widespread destruction. Over 24,000 people have been affected and livelihoods destroyed. Now, in Borno, a dam overflow impacted nearly 1 million people, submerging the communities and causing significant damage. Now, the recurring nature of these floods raises questions about whether they are purely natural disasters or if infrastructural failures exacerbate their impact. Now, in Adamawa, a significant percentage of homes were damaged or destroyed, while in Borno, the dam overflow flooded residential areas and unleashed dangerous wildlife. Now, the vulnerability of Nigeria's infrastructure in coping with such natural events is highlighted by the lack of proper flood defenses, inadequate urban planning, poor drainage systems. Addressing these infrastructural gaps and improving emergency response system is crucial in mitigating future disasters and reducing the toll on human lives and property. Now, in a moment, we will open the phone lines. That's 0700 1021 1021, 0700 1021 1021. Of course, you can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018, 0907 224 5018. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can also watch us live on High Impact TV on Niconsat 42 degree East. We'll take a breather here now and return to begin the conversation. Please stay tuned.
On Record.
Every word matters. It takes a lot of guts.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Welcome to the high side of life. Join us every day at High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
I just want to be here.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now. High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now. High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Facebook and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can also watch us live on High Impact TV on Iconsat 42 degree East. Now, to join the conversation, you can call 0700 1021 1021, 0700 1021 1021. You can also send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018, 0907 224 5018. The topic of today is flooding in Nigeria, a natural or infrastructural disaster. We'll take a look at that, whether it's the latter or the later. Well, Joining us live via phone call is Sunday Odibashi. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to the program. I hope I got the surname correctly.
Yeah, good morning. You got it quite correct.
All right. Thank you very much for gracing this discussion.
Yeah, thank you for this privilege.
All right. Earlier on, I read about the impact of this flood, both in Adamawa and Borno. We have about 24,000 people affected, livelihoods destroyed. I mean, in Borno, we have about 1 million people displaced with no homes. I mean, I'm sure you must have seen some viral videos of people trying to get food items, and which were being thrown from a small boat or whatever you might call it to the homes. And it's really, and now we have reptiles at large, we have cemeteries. I mean, we're not even talking about waterborne diseases that might that we might be expecting in the coming weeks and months. But let's start off from the beginning, from the origin. What are the primary natural causes of flooding in Nigeria, and how do they contribute to the severity of flood events?
Yeah, flooding came out of the result of heavy rainfall, of prolonged rainfall, when water tried to move from upland.
Sunday Odibashi, if I may comment, could you speak loudly a bit? Can you speak a bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm saying, I said flooding is as a result of the heavy downfall.
Yes.
Or prolonged rainfall, where water moved from upland to lowland and settled that. And in the process of trying to navigate and have some obstruction or settle in human community, and then you cannot talk of flooding. It's not a question of the downfall or prolonged downfall. In modern times, we're now having dams for hydroelectricity contributing to flooding many countries, especially Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the next question. We have a whole lot to cover here. Now, how do infrastructural deficiencies, such as inadequate drainage system, which is not just in Borno, Adama, it cuts across almost every state. I mean, in Lagos, we have poor drainage system. Now, so how do infrastructural deficiencies, such as inadequate drainage system and poorly maintained dams, emphasis on dams, how do they exacerbate the impact of flooding in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think that has been a major disaster because flooding is a natural phenomenon. All right, that is bound to happen at time of the year. Now, the responsibility of authorities to manage and control the flood such that they cannot cohabit with human beings, human environment. So they should be evacuated. In this crisis, like the water, there is no clear plan to manage this crisis year in, year out. The best you can hear from the federal government, even state, they will tell you, communities that are prone to flood during this period, you move to and others. People vacate their homes and they go upland. After almost they come back home. So even in many communities, some do not even go back to their homes. Within the same local communities, they go to rent houses in upland. Like the case of Adamawa, and Madugri, they were taken unaware because the magnitude was so high that they couldn't control. And the funniest is that the federal government is even denying that the dam is just break down, the dam is filling stars and others. And if that is so, how then did they have that magnitude of water that could not, devastate the whole city and others? So infrastructure, you need to have the appropriate, because they don't give it adequate attention. All they need is to, let it happen. Then we push in NEMA, we send intervention aids and others, and to assist the people as though they love the people. So infrastructure deficiency is a major crisis in most states, and where they exist, because they actually exist in some places, for instance in Lagos. Yes. They exist, but they are not well structured to evacuate this water to where they will not settle. It's something that year in, year out, with our major cities in Lagos, Awolowo Road, Toyin, and all the environs, they are still getting flooded every time there is just rainfall for 30 minutes.
All right. Now, earlier on, you mentioned about people moving from lowland to highland. If went before the flood happens or before rain, they give out reports of prone areas that might be affected by flooding. Now, in a report coming from the Punch newspaper, it says that the federal government opened IDP camps as 70% of Maiduguri remains. Now, my question is, if you say the people should move from one particular place to another, there has to be something in place. Why is it that it is when 70% of Maiduguri has been submerged, that is when we now say, the federal government is opening IDP camps? Can't we have all this in place so that even before the flood comes? Yes, it caught us on our way, but let's be proactive. What I'm saying is, isn't there a way we can be proactive when before these natural disasters happen?
Yeah. I think what the government is doing with that kind of arrangement is to create an emergency response, to the flooding that just occurred, and then to find a way to intervene and give people relief so that they don't suffer so much damage. But that again does not really help the matter, like you say, the proactive measure. It has become a perennial occurrence, happens from year to year. So it's not something that is an emergency anymore. That will now wait until it happens before we begin to speak of emergency measures and intervention. So it's a failure on the part of government because it's a waste of resources. The resources they use to go and maintain IDP camps, will be enough to come up with ideas that can control the flood when it occurs and make sure that people are safe. Okay? If you take, for instance, like the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, what he did, Godswill Akpabio, what he did when he was governor was to put an underlay, okay? Then the water will get at a particular spot and be stuck down inside the pipe and it will be evacuated like about 2 or 3 kilometers away for human settlement. And that saved the state capital from flooding, during his tenure. In Lagos, what they have tried to do is to construct mega drain systems. And that was when Fashola was governor in Lagos, in some location. But some of the drain systems, the mega drain systems, they can even sink an upstairs. So you can imagine the size that it is designed. If you go to various locations, you will see them. And even the canals are all over the place. And those things are there being neglected. And government needed to develop more on this. Now, those mega drain systems in Lagos, for instance, because I took time to even do an investigation on that, some years ago. They don't evacuate water. They store water. So when there's rainfall for about 30 minutes, 1 hour, the drain they get speed up and then that bounce back to the main road. It takes about 1 week for the water to just slowly move. Then the drains are supposed to be evacuating water to areas where they will not cause any crisis or disaster. But unfortunately, government is not thinking in that direction, for reasons best known to them.
All right, so my question is, this drainage system, are we saying that there was no plan for it in the first place? Because, we hear different governments coming. I'm sure even this present administration in Borno State and Maiduguri, they must have some road project. Are we saying that there's no allocation for these drainages or whatnot, or they are not, or maybe we hear of governors complaining about contractors not completing their work or using substandard products. What could be the major problem causing all these infrastructural deficiencies?
The crisis,
yes.
Yeah. I think the main thing is that there's no proper planning. If there is proper planning and laid down, design, the contractors must comply because you are paying them. You're not doing it for free. If they don't do it according to their prescription, you don't pay them. So when this is like this Maiduguri state, it has never been this bad. Just suddenly the whole city was overrun. Water has channels of movement. But when there is a blockade and obstruction and it forces its way out, it can cause this kind of disaster we are experiencing in Borno and Adamawa State. But because the government did not work ahead of time, so they were always taking unaware. For instance, even down here in the south, towards the end of the year, every year, they will always be flooded. And they will tell us, oh, it is a dam in Cameroon that they are opening it, and the water is coming down from the north, then down the south. Then it starts receding when the dam is shut, and the water now begins to go down. Why not walk ahead and see how you channel this water off the coast that it is causing disaster to people every year? It's annual thing, that's because annual thing. The rain will always come. So it's not like it's a condition it will come again in next year. So they are aware it must happen, but they really don't have enough commitment to say, let's do this and let's bring it under control. Because it's about management and control.
All right, now, so in searching for solutions or preferring solutions, what measures can be taken to improve infrastructure and urban planning in Nigeria? I mean, take for instance, in a particular state, a governor was complaining about a contractor who was allocated 100 million naira just to fix gutters, and in another state, a governor announced that they spent X amount to repair boreholes that was already allocated. I mean, it's quite amusing when you hear these stories. So what measures can be taken to improve infrastructure and urban planning in Nigeria, from the federal to the state?
Yeah, when we hear such reports as you have mentioned, it simply means one thing: the governor played politics without contract. Because they awarded the contract to party loyalists and party supporters who they know they are incompetent to deliver on those jobs. And you cannot just be there because you need them for your next election. So when they are awarding such contracts, it should be non-partisan, arranged in that system. So that is about the issue. But then, on the other hand, I think because the Minister of Environment, they are always there doing this and that. And I think the federal government should even relax more on this issue of environment and let the state take absolute control. So these are issues that we're even talking about in the structuring and constitutional review. So when these things are not being done, let's leave it at the doorstep of the governors so that we can easily confront them when they are even having these things, to handle. Because the federal government does not even talk about the environment except there's a global conference, global workshop and all that, where they will now go and just speak grammar, speak writers to do, and they will just come back and will tell us all kinds of things. But practically nothing is going on. So it's like the Federal Minister of Environment, Nigeria cannot see their impact. Apart from the setting up of NEMA, when there's a disaster, when there's flood, NEMA will just move it and begin to give relief material. That is what, for instance, like at the state level, most state governments were not prepared for the growth of new towns, the urban expansion. So territories that were not inhabited by humans, where water could be, settle in the time past. Now human beings have settled down there and pushing the water to an unknown destination, and the water they have to look for where to settle. They are not humans, so anybody is convenient for them. So even in the development of new towns, in our urban status, to be something that the state government to have put into proper planning before you begin to allocate land to people, such that it would affect the existing city. But now the growth of the city have now led to the development of new towns. So those areas those settlements that were just let me say uninhabited, grasses and all that, and bushes and all that water could settle, people are now occupying those places. So you now have the space for water start reducing, and they have to go to where they can find low level to settle. So in the case of the state government, I think the instance of the Akwa Ibom state this is very typical. It's a good legacy. Any government could go and learn and see how they can manage their own state and see how these things are evacuated. If you go around Lagos, for instance, you see various canals all around. Yes, this present administration, the present commissioner, because the last commissioner, because it was not on top of the game, but this present commissioner in Lagos State has been trying and making effort to ensure that all those drain systems are being cleared. But they need to rework those drain systems so that the drainage will be evacuating the water and not storing the water.
All right, thank you very much. But before we progress further, let's quickly go on a short break and we'll be right back.
On record.
Every word matters.
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios.
High Impact Radio 102.
Welcome back to On Record, where every word matters on High Impact 102.1 FM. Don't forget you can take part in the discussion by calling 0700 1021 1021, 0700 1021 1021, or you can send WhatsApp messages to 0907 224 5018. We are also live on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at High Impact 102.1 FM. You can also watch us live on Nikonsat 42 degree east. We're still discussing flooding in Nigeria, a natural infrastructural disaster, with Sunday Odibashi, a public affairs analyst. Now, I'd like to ask this particular question. I know that the National Emergency Management Agency, they've been doing a lot. They give these yearly reports about flooding and disasters, upcoming disasters. But there seems to be this sort of lack of cooperation among stakeholders, between NEMA and stakeholders. What best? How can the National Emergency Management Agency, how can they approach this in a better way in order to or how can they come up with more preemptive measures to avoid this in the future? I know, yes, they are also doing a whole lot, but would you say the cooperation they've been getting from state governments and is quite fair?
NEMA is a federal agency. It has a mandate, clear mandate, and are well funded by the federal government. And so far, I think they are doing well. They have been doing well in their intervention function. So they don't really have much of that preemptive measures per se. State governors, if they don't want to cooperate with them, with the agency, I think it's just at their own peril, to do that. Because one thing is clear, they don't have the mandate to hand over the resources they operate to any governor. They have to distribute those resources, those materials directly to the beneficiaries. Maybe that might be the source of, if I will put it that way, conflict between any. But they don't have the mandate to hand over to anybody. They have to distribute directly. So they have been doing what they have been functioning well within their mandate. And in terms of preventive measure, it goes beyond that. That's outside their mandate. Because we have the NIMET, and other institutions, they will come and give up forecasts. Oh, it's going to rain tomorrow, it's going to be sunny tomorrow, and all that. I think that agency should be an advancing agency that will say, oh, if this is coming, can we have it this way? Then before you can now move to the Ministry of Environment, who will now say, okay, what do we do to make sure that when this rain comes, this water is being settled somewhere that it will not trouble anybody. Until these things are done, we cannot get the result we need. All right?
Yes.
Now, the state want to work ahead of time to deal with the issue of drainage. If you go to riverine areas in the south, you will see what the local rural communities are even suffering when it comes to this issue of flooding. Because there is also no preventive action to protect our environment.
Sunday Adibashi, if I may come in, Adibashi, if I may come in, just as you mentioned these riverine areas, there's a report here from Punch newspaper. The Minister of Resources, Water Resources and Sanitation, that's Joseph Youssef, has warned of a potential river flooding on the Niger and Benue rivers, now stating that a large volume of water is flowing through these rivers towards the Niger Delta region. Now, he was speaking on in regards to the Maiduguri and Borno state. He called for vigilance in all aspects. So now that, yes, the federal government has warned of an impending flood, how can the Niger Delta, how can they be able to, would I say, forestall this? How can they be able to, handle the situation, address the situation?
Yes. Now that the federal government has identified a problem, the responsibility of the federal government to now provide solutions. Okay? Now, when you identify that, the volume of water, because that was even where I was going initially, you could even raise this one. Because as communities, the years pass by, as rainfall, it washes the surface. Even the flood does not go empty. The flood goes with sand. And this is deposited into the river, and the river is accumulating this thing. And when that is done, it's becoming more shallow, and the volume of water is not reducing. Definitely, it will find a way to move and expand. Now that the federal government has identified it, it's now the responsibility of the federal government to commence or to go and dredge to the river Benue and increase the depth of the two rivers, such that whatever is coming in can be absorbed, can be contained. Rather than crying, what would the people do now? Are they the ones that will go and dredge the rivers? They should dredge the rivers and now look at the river bank. How do we now prevent it? Look, if you go to Atlantic Ocean, you see what Fashola did there. The Ocean was overflowing the bank and moving into Victoria Island, into residential areas, until Fashola went, brought stones and sealed, and prevented the Atlantic Ocean from overflowing its bank. Now that the federal government has identified it, why not intervene, do the dredging, increase the depth of the depth of the water bed, and let there be more volume that will be contained there. Now look at the water bank. How do we not make sure that this water does not go beyond this point? They just have to prevent it. If the rest of the government have identified, would they have identified earlier on, it's time for them to now intervene, not to begin to warn the people to vacate their habitation again.
All right, thank you very much. Before we go, I have two more questions. Now, the first one, yes, you mentioned that the federal government has to now, set up some proactive measures, rather. Now, so while we await the swift response from the federal government, let's talk about community-based initiatives. Now, how can community-based initiatives and local organizations contribute to improving, flood resilience and response in affected areas?
It's really a very serious matter because it has to go with financial empowerment of individuals. For instance, if you have enough fund that it's okay, you can lift your structures, to a level and protect it, fine. But in this circumstance, they don't have that power because the protective power of Nigerians have so weakened over the years. So we can't really even take care of ourselves. Let's talk of our environment. But I think humans have not been too conscious about the environment, managing the environment, so to speak. Because even in the city, apart from those rural areas and the upper periphery, even in the heart of the city, you will see people, they are sweeping their shores, they are pushing the sand into the gutters, even the gutter that were provided. They get all their garbage They dump it there. They are waiting for the rain to come and wash the garbage away. So those things, perhaps with your question, I think the basic thing is enlightenment. So people should be enlightened on how to be conscious about the environment and what to do to maintain the environment and keep safe.
All right, now let's look at the long-term socioeconomic impact of flooding on communities in Nigeria. We know that with this flooding in Borno, Maiduguri, it will also affect food crops. And so there might be an imminent food scarcity coming up in the next couple of months. So what are the long-term socioeconomic impacts of flooding on communities in Nigeria, and how can these be addressed, through policy and infrastructure improvements?
Yeah, because, those consequences will always be there. So we are already living with the consequences. Because when the storm comes, those farms that are on low land, the water around the farm, and those things get destroyed before the water could recede. And then that is one. Again, you see people being displaced from their homes, to an emergency location where you now live in public space, no demarcation of privacy and all that. That also causes another threat on the environment where they are being assembled. So now that it is an annual thing, like I said earlier, it's not something that just come and say, oh, we are not aware or we are not expecting it. I think that the government at all levels do not conduct a thorough study on how to contain this. Look at the depth of the river, our inland waterways, because that's also another area. If you look at the Nigerian inland waterways, they are just lying there. They are not even used for any economic. They are not even put into economic usage. The economic utility of our inland waterways. They are just there. All you can do is just if you just be taking, maybe you have doing a study or anything, you just be seeing yourself navigating through forests, beside the waters and all that, and nothing is being done. So those inland waterways, perhaps if you cannot do anything on the outside, you cannot get to those inland waterways and see how you can deepen the depth and channel this water right there so that they will not get out of human settlement and now find a location different. Then other internal interventions, like the Akwa example, it can be replicated in so many other states. If you look at the Lagos State, for instance, you go around the city, you will see Gulf in so many places. Now, about some meters away from the Gulf, flood is taking up the roads, washing up our roads, bridges are collapsing and all that. Now, speaking for those Gulf, you see floods, disturbing motorists and vehicular movement and even human movement and all that, overrunning shore. And it's just a little channel to get to those Gulf, and the road will be clear. So I think they did a thorough survey. Unfortunately, we had, Nigeria have launched 2 satellites, even though they were done in China. Sat-1 and Sat-2, what are they used for? They spend millions of dollars to do that. So why can't we move from space to area survey and see how these things can be handled? So it's going to be expensive for individuals, organizations. I think government has the responsibility to get that done.
All right, thank you very much, Sunday Odibashe. You have been really brilliant on this discussion, and we do appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Right, we have been discussing flooding in Nigeria, a natural or infrastructural disaster, with Sunday Odibashe, public affairs analyst. And I must say, it is a robust and impactful conversation. Now, this is where we round off the program on record, where every word matters, on High Impact 102.1 FM. Many thanks for tuning in and watching. Keep listening to High Impact 102.1 FM. Keep watching High Impact TV on Nikonsat 42 degree east. I am Olumide Shokoya. Good morning.
On record.
Every word matters.
The democracy has not given us peace, but
High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. The future is now.
Welcome to the high side of life.